Hey guys, you see this? This is a Zoom recorder. What this does is it acts as a backup for when our laptop takes a crap recording the Smoking Tire podcast. The Smoking Tire podcast. That's what I'm saying. We do a podcast right here in this studio. It's a 90-minute show every week. It's really fun. We've got guests from all over the industry, automotive journalists, industry leaders, racing drivers, celebrities, and more. And the guy behind the camera, that's Zach. He's on the podcast too, and he's funny. And if our computer fails, we have our Zoom recorder to back it up. That's what it's about. Search it on iTunes or shoutengine.com/thesmokingtire or click the link in the description. Morning, everybody. Welcome to Santa Clarita. The kind folks at DINAN, famous tuner of BMWs, had lent me this M2 with their full S2 package on it for a week. And I drove it around for a week, and it rained the entire time. And while the car is lovely, I couldn't get to experience the performance of it because the weather was just a disaster. And so they brought it out for me today to do the video on, which is so nice of them. So this is a 2016 BMW M2 dual clutch car. I did the stick with the stock car on the track at Grid Life. You can look up that video. And then this is the dual clutch. It has an N55 engine, which is a similar engine to the 235i, not the M4's engine. And that is significant because the N55 engine sounds better. It's also significant because the DINAN M2 makes the same amount of power as DINAN's 235i, which is 446 horsepower and 445 pound-feet of torque. And that's thanks to a tuner, a full exhaust, a big turbo kit, an intercooler, resonator delete, and an intake. So that's $7,000 for the S2 engine tune. And then this also has the DINAN coil-over suspension system, rear toe links, adjustable sway bars, ball joint kit, camber plates. So it's got 4,600 worth of suspension. Then it has the optional wheels and tires, which is $6,500. And then the big brake kit, which is $8,600. This is a parts catalog car. Total $82,300, including the car. So that's a lot of money. You're into M4 territory. Let me show you where that money goes. In case you were wondering, wheel spin all the way through the first and second gears. I love the M2. The M2 is the right size of car. You can fit 4 people and your stuff in this thing, and it's not too big, bulky, clunky. It feels like the right size. Likewise, the DCT gearbox is lovely. It is so much better. Even though the auto is decent in the 235, the dual clutch steering wheel up, the dual clutch is so much more responsive and makes it feel so much more advanced and exotic and fun. It's much more fun. I use it in manual mode even when I don't need to because it's fun to hear it blip. So that N55 engine sounds better with this DINAN exhaust than the M4s do. Those M4s don't sound so good. These sound really, really nice when I'm on it. Sounds good in the car and out of the car, and boy, does this thing rip. 445 horsepower is a lot. Is it 445? It's 446. That's a lot, but it feels like more. Honestly, this is a really, really fast car. And it feels like a lot faster than the regular M2. Oh, here we go. This is 4th gear into 5th. 13 miles an hour. Very impressive. Oh, these brakes are good. Really good pedal feel getting these things hauled down. The DINAN big brake kit. 6 pistons at all 4 corners. Square brakes. That's what I'm talking about, bruh. The other thing that DINAN's done with this car, and I'm going to flip around once I have visibility to go back to the tight stuff, now that I've demonstrated the power. The other thing DINAN's done, which I think was incredibly smart, is dialed their suspension to softer than stock. My biggest gripe with the M2 was not actually how it drove on the racetrack or how it drove in a performance setting, which was awesome. My biggest gripe was how it handled bumpy roads, which I felt it was artificially stiff in order to give the impression of performance, but without necessarily delivering on the returns relative to the stiffness. You follow me? It was really stiff. This one, even with that bump there, the coilovers, they've softened them. The car is softer than stock. DINAN says that makes the car faster. I say that makes the car much better to live with every day. When I drove the standard M2 in the city, it was tough. And recall that the M2 does not have adaptive shocks or adaptive suspension of any kind. It's a standard suspension. So you can do a DINAN coilover on this, not have any weird codes or have to deal with any weird software, make the ride better, and apparently also make it go faster, which is a big win. Now, could you make more power than DINAN is offering? 100%. You can make more power. We've driven N55 cars that have quite a bit more power than this. However, what do you get with this car at those numbers and for this price? Well, I asked and answered, but you get a 50-state legal car. This car is as is legal in California. So for roughly 10 G's, you can get 100 horsepower and 100 pounds of torque. Carb legal, 50-state legal, no problem. If you don't require your car to be street legal, you can get a lot more power out of it, but it might be a little bit dirty power, as it were. This, for a road legal car in California, warranted by DINAN, is an incredible performance value. I mean, yeah, 83 grand as tested. That's a lot of money for an M2. But I think it's better to drive than the M4 for the same money. Take this car and a comparatively priced M4, and you go, which would you rather own? And I'd rather own and drive this car than I would an M4. I don't think the extra size of the M4 necessarily translates into the premium in terms of price. Stiff, handled that bump really well, even under braking. It's got a real grumbly sound, and it actually sounds real mean on cold starts. This is a fun car to start in the garage. It echoes and resonates, and really sounds the business. But you can see this road is actually quite bumpy, and the M2 is super composed over it. Wow, very fast car, and I'm only in sport. Let's go to sports plus, and I bet it rips off downshifts. Oh yeah, it has an engineered kick when I go into Sport Plus. So with Sport Plus, it gives it just that little bit of motorsport feel when you get that gear change kick. Not really have to be there. This gearbox is totally capable of seamless downshifts. We'll flip around here. How's the turning radius? Oh, that's a big dip. What are the tires on this thing before we go? 265s in the front, 285s in the back. We got traction control off now, and yep, just blew off right off first gear, no problem. Sport Plus gives you traction control off, but stability control is still on. The M2 is not all that much lighter than the M4, but the fact that it's smaller does make it feel a bit more nimble. The steering is great. The steering wheel is great. The seating position, I didn't notice it at first, but everyone kept telling me how it's off to the left. And the first time I drove the M2, I didn't notice. Then everyone asked me if I noticed it was off to the left. I didn't. But now that I'm in this car, all I can think about is how the seat is off to the left. Do you really notice it while you're driving? No, you don't. It doesn't really come into play ever. But once you start thinking about it, you can't stop thinking about it. This car is so fast. What a delightful car this is. This is great. This is like out of a four-seater coupe. Out of a four-seater coupe, this is about as much car as I could ask for. For 85 grand, I know that's a lot of money, but you don't need to buy all the things. You don't need the wheels and tires. You can keep your stock wheels and tires. You might not need the big brake kit. You know, I honestly think that if you get all of this stuff, it is priced appropriately, and it is not a ripoff. It is a lot of car, and it is very fast, and it is very fun to drive, and you can drive it legally, and you can drive it with a warranty, and these are great things. And that's why Dinan's expensive, because the stuff is good, the cars go fast, you don't have problems, and if you do, they cover it. So that's golden. So thanks to Dinan for letting me have the car for a few days, and thanks to Dinan for bringing it back out when I couldn't shoot it. And of course, I'll put the link if you're interested in Dinan products for your own car in the description. Check out my wheel well page to see what's going on in my world of cars. And thank you for watching, and I'll see you later.